All right, Yo fans, welcome to week 8 of the Steel Show. Oh my God, I mean, that's really all you can say about this last Saturday. If you weren't excited about that game, I'm not sure you have a pulse. That's just as good as college football gets right there, and I think probably the best game that's ever been played in Simplot Stadium, maybe the biggest win in program history and the best game that we've been a part of. So talk a little bit about your reaction to the game.
Yeah, certainly the stakes with us being undefeated and playing a really good Montana Tech team, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I still do revert back to that Southern Oregon game when we won in overtime, but and there was rush the field kind of deal. But this is a tough game, and we knew it was going to be tough. We know Montana Tech is a very, very good team, but boy, hats off to Kyle Mitchell. I mean, that's I was telling you earlier, you hope to just get him a clean look at a makeable range. I'm not sure I was thinking 58 yards was makeable, but with the wind, he was going to have a shot to get it that far, and doggone it. He knocked it through. It was spectacular. It was great. And we deserved to win the game, and it didn't feel like that because our defense had shut him down the whole game. And then gosh, I mean, we all lived and died 3 or 4 times on that their last drive, where the quarterback made some great runs and great throws, and it was just tough. Then they punch it in. But it's interesting as the head coach, you know, the clock management kind of starts while they still have the ball. And you're thinking, boy, if they score, if they take 3 plays or 4 plays or 5 plays to score, we may not have any time. So what do we do? So we did take a timeout when they got the ball, a first down on the 5-yard line. So that saved a little bit of time. And then they scored on an incredible play. I don't know if the guy was inbound.
Amazing individual play.
Amazing individual play. So hats off to them. And then our 2-minute drill, I know we'll talk about that later. I was just so happy with the composure of the team, the belief of the team, and then we had a shot, and then Kyle banged it through.
Yeah, I was joking with you about how you just don't see that at any level. I mean, 58 yards in the Division I level or NFL, it's just rare to see a game winner from there to hit it pure.
All my years in football, I've never had anything close to that. So it was really, really special for me, special for the program, special for the community. So it was a great win.
Absolutely.
And it's so fun to see everybody excited that way. And it was a great football game. It was a hard-fought football game. It was a heavyweight fight. It was tough, and I thought we played very, very well in spots in every phase. And then football's also a crazy game, as you know. Crazy stuff happens and snaps over the head. We were playing with our backup center. Couldn't have been a worse time. And so that cost us a couple times in the red zone. We thought it was a mistake on one of the 4th downs when Darius was going to run a quarterback power, but it was just a nice blitz by them. You know, it was unblockable, and he got through. And when the quarterback's running, sometimes it doesn't develop as fast as it would be if we were handing it off to Nick or Dom or Justin. So it was just one of those days. It was a crazy day, and Kyle missed a field goal by a hair earlier, and but I was so happy with again the belief, the trust, the understanding that you can't be bumming out when crazy stuff happens. You got to go on to the next play and make the next play, and sometimes that's the 2-minute drill. So I even pulled Darius and Jacob Holcomb, who's our backup quarterback, and it's not fun to talk about when we had to give up the ball and it was 13-7. You have to assume or plan for that the team's going to score, so you're ready to go. So I had Coach Cody, the offensive coordinator, get the offense together, make sure we know what we're going to do, and sure enough, it's like daggers in the heart when they do move it in, but you got to be ready. That's the quarterback's job, is to be ready to take the team down in that situation. So I was happy that I had the wherewithal at least to remind the team, because it's so emotional down there, and we've all put so much into it. But again, that's my job, is to manage the clock a little bit, and it worked out.
Absolutely. So heck of a job by everyone involved, just the staff, defensive staff. It came down to every single person on the roster, special teams, to get the win. But
even the coin flip. They deferred, so we had to take it in the first half, and then In the early days, you'll remember this, Brock, if there was a windy game in the early days of the program, the first 3-4 years, I would always stay with the wind in the third quarter just to try to stay in the game.
Yeah.
But our defense has risen to such a level, and we met as a staff and said, we're gonna kick into the wind.
Yep.
Give them the wind in the third quarter, so we have the wind in
Yep.
the fourth quarter. And,
Yep.
you know, again, it worked out for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, absolutely. So I do want to talk about those struggled a little bit on offense for the first time maybe in a few weeks or really all season for some cases. I mean, it was a little bit of a struggle against Tech the first time, but got things going. What about Tech gave you guys some problems this week?
Well, Tech is a very, very tactical defense, and they're very, very tough. So they took it to us. It hurt having Ricky Bowman out of the game, our senior center, and but we played pretty good. We had a good plan, and they made some adjustments, you know, and so they kind of overloaded our tight end side. We probably have a tendency that we run to the tight ends, but we move those guys around enough. So that was their thing, but we're still reasonably successful, but we didn't get any big gainers.
Yeah.
So again, hats off to them. Nick still rushed for
Over
111 yards, and you know, as a team we're at 160. Very difficult day to throw the ball well and effectively in, and I thought Darius was pretty darn good.
Yeah,
we had a
absolutely.
couple chances to make some long catches, but again, they have good DBs and good coverage. So I kind of thought, I mean, we still gained, you know, 370
Yeah.
yards, which isn't
Yeah.
a terrible
Yeah,
day.
move the ball.
Yeah, and it was more the turnovers, and one was a tip ball interception than the fumble down in the
Yeah.
red zone. So again, and we didn't go for it early because the wind, all those factors.
Yeah, talk about
it
your
all-
decision to go for it in the first drive. We get the big gainer down there with Hunter Juarez. And I believe we're somewhere around the 10-yard line, and we went for it on fourth down, weren't able to get it. Talk
Yeah,
about what it
I was
in that
nervous
decision.
about the field goal because it was into the teeth of the 30-mile-an-hour wind, and thought we had some good calls. So it usually depends on, do we have good calls that we feel good about? And we had a great call. That was the one they ran through on.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
and
Sometimes
got us,
better
and that
defensive
happens.
calls. Yeah.
It's risky. In hindsight, great. Would have tried the field goal, but
Right.
But I thought we had them on their heels a little bit, and
And I think that's a good time in the game to go for it.
Yeah.
Beginning of the game, because you can recover from anything. There's
Right.
the whole game left.
Right.
And I think it's good to be aggressive and have your foot on the gas pedal from the beginning.
yeah, that's a great point. The guys believe, you know,
Yeah.
and they feel, and we've kind of constructed this thing. We're a power running game. We have to be tough. We have to go after them. We have to be aggressive. And I want the team to feel that, you know, so that's a big part of what I try to do, to believe that, yep, we can strike anytime, and we're going to keep coming at you and keep coming at you, keep coming
Yes,
at you.
sir.
So that's the fun part. But didn't work out.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
time.
that's all right, yeah.
But at the end,
Yeah.
you know, we're
Mhm.
only down by 2 with those 2 field goals we made in the second half, and so it worked out.
Absolutely. So, and then lastly with the game, the 2-minute operation was fantastic. Not only to get Kyle in field goal position, but I, keep talking to people about how at the end of the first half, had to go into the 2-minute. I believe there was maybe a minute 30, minute 40 left when we get the ball, march down and score to take a 10-7 lead. Talk about the operation that you guys had all day in the 2-minute offense.
Well, it was good, and 2 minute is such a hard thing to practice. It's hard to mimic those situations, but I felt like pretty confident. Our special teams coach, Coach KL, coached the returners. So taking the fair catch on the kickoff was big.
Yep.
Literally no time comes
Yep.
off the clock. So you had 21 seconds and moved the ball 35 yards in 4 plays. All very, very simple in the sense of we practice those plays all the time. Again, we were talking about play call selection, and could we have thrown the ball longer? And absolutely, but we opted to go with what we felt comfortable with, what Darius felt comfortable with, was safe, and we just wanted to try to get a shot. I couldn't have been more pleased.
Yeah, and you got to do what you practice every day. 'Cause
Exactly.
if you try to do something different, you're just bringing a whole new mess of
Exactly,
problems.
and
into
that's
the mix.
kind of a philosophy thing that we've really sold the guys on,
Yep.
so they know what's coming. It's not
Yep.
going to be some fandangled play or made up play, but really it comes down to our execution.
Yep.
So we kind of put it on us as players, coaches, and we're gonna get this thing done. But on the sidelines, talking to Darius before they ever scored, you have to be ready for that sort of situation, and you hate to say it, you feel like you're putting the jinx on your defense or something, but you have to have the conversation that if they score, we got to be ready to go. That's our job, to be ready. And I said, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You've never had a game-winning drive, Darius.
Yeah,
And, and he was ready. He's that kind of competitive guy. And I was just pleased with his composure, understanding everything about the situation. So it was fantastic to see.
Yes,
that's what football's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make some plays like that or win a game like that in order to win the league. It's not going to be,
no question,
roses the whole way through the schedule, especially in this league.
And second time around, a team as good as Montana Tech. Weather, whatever, we're going to face the same thing against Southern Oregon.
All right, fans, I want to go through the last drive here, the drive that set up the field goal by Kyle Mitchell. Just a heck of a job operating in the 2-minute offense by the C of I Yotes. What we're going to have here, this is a play, Little Ben. It's going to be 2 deep routes here by these 2 receivers. Keegan Crafton's going to run straight, try to get through the outside shoulder of this guy. Hunter Juarez going straight up the field here. And then Connor Richardson here is going to have a deep out route to the sidelines, trying to get us a chunk play to start and get out of bounds. So a heck of a job by everyone involved on this play. You can see here, like I said, Keegan Crafton is the point man. He does a great job getting through the outside shoulder of that guy, which really is what opens up the out route for Connor Richardson. That's a really deep throw by Darius Peterson here on the left hash to get it all the way out there on the deep out. So a really good throw. And then C-Rich just does a great job getting out of bounds here, right? We have 1 timeout. There was 21 seconds left in the game. We cannot afford to burn that timeout early. We got to try to get a couple plays down the field and get out of bounds so we don't have to use the timeout. We can see it from this angle here. You can kind of just see how great of a throw and how deep that is for number 4, Darius Peterson. On the left hash, rip it out there. Nice catch by C-Rich, get out of bounds. Great first play in the 2-minute here. This next play, we got double stop. Both the outside receivers here running a stop route. Obviously, we're trying to go to the boundary, being on the right hash. So the boundary means the short side of the field over here on the right. Hunter Juarez, outside receiver here, number 3, is going to run a little stop route and try to get out of bounds. Really good route by him. Darius does a good job of just setting his feet and getting the ball out quickly. Good route by Juarez. Get out of your break. He does a really good job here coming back to the football as well. Close the distance with the football. Get out of your break and get out of bounds. Again, good operation by everyone involved there. Next play, we got a little bit of a spot route concept here. So outside receiver Hunter Juarez is going to come in here, try to occupy this defender for a little bit. Connor Gagan in the backfield here is kind of the H-back, going to run a little out route to the sideline. He's going to try to get out of bounds here. Again, the Yotes still haven't had to waste their time out yet, so they're in really good position if they can get out of bounds again. Darius does a good job identifying it, setting his feet, making the throw. Gagan makes the catch, get out of bounds quickly. That's the smart decision by him there, right? We don't want to waste any time. Again, we still have our timeout in our pocket, so we don't want to try to be a hero and get upfield too much. We just want to make the play and get out of bounds and save that timeout. Both guys are open. Darius does a good job spitting it to the outside. All right, so we got the double stop concept again, same as the second play of the drive. We're going to want to work the boundary here on the short side of the field. Hunter Juarez does, again, a good job pressing him vertically. One thing Hunter Juarez does so well as a receiver is obviously he's a big-time speed guy. And when you have that speed, you want to threaten the DB vertically. Get this guy right here, get him into his back pedal and moving this way so that he can't guard anything underneath. Juarez does a good job of that. Getting out of his stance, pressing vertically, get out of your break, come back to the football. So now we're going to burn the timeout. Juarez gets what he can, catches it, gets down. You can see the coaches down here calling a timeout quickly. Yotes have 2 seconds left now and sets up the longest field goal in Frontier Conference history. So not only was it the longest field goal, but to do it in a game-winning situation, good snap, good hold, and Kyle buries it through the uprights. And the celebration ensues. Strike up the band, Yotes stay undefeated. All right, fans, want to talk a little bit about what happened around the Frontier Conference this week. Big week, a couple of upsets on the slate. So first, the big upset of the week, Carroll over Montana Western. Western was coming off of a loss to Montana Tech, but we're sitting there at second in the league, tied with Tech, right under C of I. They traveled to Carroll and Helena, Montana, lose 33-29. Huge win for Carroll to continue to improve their program after a couple of down years. Western has now dropped 2 in a row, so they're in a little bit of a tight spot here coming down the stretch. Southern Oregon returns the favor against Eastern, beats them at home 31-25. Or actually, I believe they were on the road at Eastern. I apologize for that. But 31-25, Southern Oregon victory. Huge win for them. Like we talked about with the Coach Mo interview, they've won 3 in a row. They've gotten some confidence, right? They're probably feeling like they got some things rolling for this game against C of I. So they're in a good position the last few weeks. Rocky over Montana State Northern, 57-39. That's the second time Rocky has beaten Northern this season, so big win for them. And then looking at the Frontier Conference standings, so right now C of I sits at 6-0 with Tech and Montana Western both at 4-2. We got Carroll and Southern Oregon at 3-3, Eastern and Rocky Mountain at 2-4, and then Montana State Northern kind of rounding things out at a winless 0-6. So that's kind of where the Frontier Conference is sitting right now. Big week for C of I. If they can get a couple more wins here, they're going to be in a great position to win the league, but it's really one game at a time. Nothing has been decided yet. There's 4 games left, 4 big games. Every game for C of I going forward is really a playoff game in order to not only try to win the conference, but national seeding and all that stuff. So every game that C of I wins, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like we talked about, we've never won in Ashland, Oregon, so hopefully we can change that fortune this week. Thanks for tuning in, and be on the lookout more for more of the Steel Show next week.